So guess what? I got a microphone, and hopefully you guys can hear me better. We're gonna see how it works. So if you can hear things in the background, that's thunder. And I kind of hope you can hear it because it's beautiful sounding, but I'm sorry if it annoys you. But it is thundering and raining outside, and I think it's, really beautiful. Today's topic is I wanted to talk about how to do meditation. Not just how to do meditation, but some tips on what you can do and what I do to get yourself back into the groove of doing meditation if it's been a while. Because guys, today I'm a mess. And I haven't really been keeping up with my practice very well. Things have slipped. I haven't been, as into things as I should be. And so it's been a while since I've really meditated. Like I meditate sometimes, but it's not as often as I should be. And so these are some tips that you can utilize, like I utilize, to kind of help you get back into the groove of. These are tips that you can use that will help you get back into the groove of being back more in alignment, calming yourself down a little bit. I will admit today has been a bad, crazy, panic day, even with me trying to do meditation. So, sometimes you're still stressed out even when you do meditation, but at least it helps bring you back a little bit. I probably would be more calm again if I had kept up with it more. So I definitely want to work on that. But this is what tips I personally use to get me back into meditation, because something I've noticed is that when you haven't been doing it for a while, when you're feeling really anxious, sometimes you go back into trying to meditate, or at least I do, which I feel like a lot of other people probably deal with the same thing, that you try to meditate and you just aren't feeling it, that you're feeling like you kind of are expecting some kind of revelation or experience from it. You're expecting something grander than what really might happen. And so you're putting extra pressure and anxiety and expectations for this meditation to be something that it might just not be. Now I will say that if you really are not in the mood to meditate, don't force yourself to do it, because I've tried to do this sometimes where I'm like, well, maybe I want to meditate. And then I get into it and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just not feeling this. And if I tried to force myself to do it, I probably would end up more irritated. And, I don't want to force myself to do something that's supposed to be relaxing for me and healing for me and make it a chore. And, I think a lot of people can relate to that. So if you don't really feel like it, if you're really just not into it, don't push yourself to do it. Because I believe that's a lot of places that anxiety is bred from to begin with, is making yourself do things that you really don't want to do. So the thing that I wanted to talk about first is don't expect that. And that's the first thing you need to do. You need to kind of release all your expectations that anything is going to happen. Let any expectation go of what you wanted to happen, of any messages coming through sometimes, any of that stuff like that. Don't have any expectations. Just go into it, and if all you do is lay and breathe and relax for a little while, then that's all that happens, and that's fine. So the second step, I would say, is to get in your sitting position, lay down however you were going to meditate, and then you just need to go ahead and, close your eyes. If you take a few moments to just kind of settle in and relax. And then if you have any thoughts that are coming in, just kind of, let them pass. Try not to interact with them. Don't think about, what milk did I buy? Is it in date? And do I need to get such and such for dinner? Don't think about all those things. If you notice those coming into your head, just go, oh yeah, okay, and let it go. At the very least, but if you can, just be like, oh, and let it pass. Don't try not to interact with it. And anytime that you notice doing that, you just need to, focus on your breathing. So that's the other thing that you need to do after you close your eyes, is close your eyes and start breathing. And this doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just breathe and focus on that. Focus on your breath. Let go of all your thoughts. Let go of everything else that's going on around you. and just focus on the inhales and exhales, the sound of your breath, the feeling of your chest and stomach rising and falling. Just do that and get comfortable as much as you possibly can. Now, these are some tips of things that I personally do. If you don't want to do any of these things, then that's understandable. But some of these things are things that can help me personally kind of connect further and fall into a deeper meditation and fully relax a little more. So one of the first things that I like to do is I like to kind of ground myself. I like to visualize a little bit that when I'm laying down, sitting down, that I have roots that come out of my body, wrap around me, and it goes through all the floors of my house and down into the ground of the earth. And these roots spread and they bring up white, positive, healing energies to me. At the same time, simultaneously, some of these roots are taking away bad, negative, dark vibes from me. Black energy that are not helping me, I guess, is a good way to put that. So do that if you feel. And then the other thing that I do with this is I also use universal energy and then imagine the universe bright white light coming down over me and having a protective layer over myself as I lay or sit or whatever I'm doing for this meditation. And imagine it just surrounding me and protecting me and filling me with bright white light energy. The next thing that I like to do is that sometimes I like to breathe in and out and imagine, again, dark and light energies entering and exiting my body. So how I do that is I breathe in and breathe out. When I exhale, I'm imagining all the black energy going out. And when I inhale, I'm imagining the white healing energies going in. And this is something that you do from like all the areas of your body. When you breathe in, imagine you gathering all the energies from every corner of your body and it just collecting all the black energy. If you want to work on it in a specific area, like I feel it in my chest a lot. If I feel it in my chest a lot, I can sometimes focus on that, but I like to also focus on my entire body as well. Or I can kind of do those one at a time, or I can kind of just do one or the other, whichever you feel called to. So you breathe in, you imagine all that dark energy collecting, and then you just push it out when you breathe out and imagine all of it leaving and dissipating and turning into neutral energy. And then when you breathe in, you imagine the universal bright white healing energy is entering your body and entering whatever area or your entire body that you're focusing on. Something else that really helps me, especially if you don't want to do any of those exercises, something that really in particularly helps me fall into a deeper meditation, relax a bit more. To do deeper breathing, for one, can help. But the other thing that I like to do is also breathing with my mouth open. So the first one, you can breathe just deeper, kind of like, and hold your breath for as long as you feel drawn to, whatever feels right for you. Same thing with exhaling. So if you feel like holding that exhale for a longer period of time, do that. Just do whatever feels right for you. The other thing that I like to do is sometimes on those exhales, I like to make kind of like a crashing ocean wave sound. So that is just kind of like pushing air up through your throat to kind of, as if you were going to breathe on a window kind of thing, to make a fog. So you kind of just breathe in, maybe so you can hear a little better. That's kind of what you're going to do, except you're just going to keep your mouth closed when you do it. Something else that I like to do that helps me even more so, to breathe with my mouth just open, not making that noise, just on the exhale, open my mouth. And so I just go. Again, it's dependent on how hard you want to blow that breath out when you have your mouth open. So if you don't want to do it very much, like say you start out, because that's kind of what I like to do. So you start out maybe pushing it a little bit more vigorously out of your mouth, and then as you start to calm down, the more and more you slow it down and push less and less air out until eventually you don't really have hardly any air coming between your lips until you get to the point where you're just like, okay, I feel like I'm good with that. I'm ready to breathe regularly. So those are all things that can help you deepen your meditation, as well as helping you to fall into your relaxation a bit so you can get into a meditative state when you're feeling a lot of stress and anxiety, overwhelm, things like that. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is that this is something that I don't really hear any videos talk about with meditation, that I feel like it's extremely important, at least for me, to fall into an actual meditative state. So a lot of the time, these videos will mention, just focusing on your breathing, just focusing on your breathing. That's a great tool, that's a good start, but something else that helps me is when you close your eyes, you can still see things, except all you see is the darkness. And what helps me is to stare into this darkness a lot of the time. Just stare into the back of your eyelids, stare into the darkness, and don't expect anything. Just keep listening to your breathing, staring into the darkness, and focus on that. Just stare at it while you breathe. And sometimes things will start forming in there. You'll start seeing different things, and before you know it, you'll start seeing a whole visualization of something. You can also start your meditations by, beginning to start to imagine yourself somewhere. Imagine yourself in the mountains on a beach, or, someplace that's very calming and relaxing to you. That can help you also fall into a meditative state. But even if you just stare into the blackness, as your eyes are closed, that can also help. And eventually you'll usually start falling into a state of some visualization that your mind will take you to as it starts to wander on its own. Now, these are some of the things that I feel like are meditative, because when I stare into that darkness and I fall into a real meditative state, I feel like what happens is that sometimes I feel a disconnect between myself and my body. I feel like my body's there, but it feels almost heavy to where I feel like I can't hardly move it. Which isn't true. If I brought my attention and my focus back to my body, I can move it. But it's kind of a disconnect between that right then, where you just feel kind of heavy, and the only thing that's happening is your mind is just focusing and finding things and truths for you, basically, through this meditation. Sometimes it will also happen to me where I'll start to feel like I'm spinning. Or it's happened to me before where I felt like my head was, vibrating back and forth. That it's been a while since that kind of meditative state happened to me, but I don't know if I've fallen into the deepest kinds of meditation, but that's my experience of meditation, is just kind of feeling a disconnect between my body and my mind and myself. When I fall into this in a complete state of relaxation, and my mind just starts to wander and kind of create almost dreams in my head of, visions, things that I see, places that I am, animals that I see, things like that. And if you pay attention to these, you'll want to, pay attention and maybe look some of the things up of whatever happened to you in this meditation, because those animals or those things, those symbols, those things that you saw in your meditation may mean something in real life to you, or whatever problem you're looking for and trying to sort through. So definitely want to pay attention to that. I mean, that's pretty much the tips that I have on getting back into the flow of things, and kind of getting your mojo back and getting yourself to be grounded a bit more and maybe get back into the practice a bit more. Again, don't force yourself if you really don't feel like you want to do it, but if you're in a moment where you're really just feeling like I really need to just calm down and find some peace right now and meditation sounds good, give it a try. And these tips can maybe help you not only meditate, but fall into a deeper meditation when you're feeling on edge. Honestly, today, guys, I'm in a bad place. I'm feeling really crazy today. I feel very stuck. I feel very overwhelmed. So yeah, that's what I did today. And I need to get back into my spiritual practice more because, guys, I haven't been practicing as much as I should have and should be. I'm trying to get back into things, but that's one of the things where I feel stuck in is I'm just feeling overwhelmed because I feel like I've got a lot of tasks to do, a lot of things to do. And I just feel like I can't keep up with everything that's going on, including my personal wants, needs, and goals at the moment. And it just feels like things are stagnant and not going anywhere. So that's a little disappointing. That's another reason why I really do want to get back into things. It's because I want to start being able to be happier and, you know, more content again. So that's what I'm working on, and I hope these tips are going to be helpful for you if you're facing the same kind of difficulties, a lot of stress, a lot of tension, a lot of pressure, feeling overwhelmed. I hope that this can help you get back into the swing of getting back into your meditation, getting back into your spirituality and practice, and getting back to a sense of vibrating higher and feeling calmer and happier again, and that all is okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Bye!